Greetings, mortals. I am Natus, the ruler of the underworld. The end of the week is here, so it's time that we discuss some manga chapters. So yeah, anyways, we have a lot of chapters to get through this week, so let's not be around the bush and we'll get right into it. And we'll start, of course, off with Shadow House chapter 201, titled Loss. Which is honestly pretty much just hammering home how uh, shitty the Kate situation is at this point, because like half of this chapter is just everything that she's been working towards throughout the entire story, just getting thrown in her face and just being completely taken over. Like, it really wants to establish how much has Kate lost after Anthony's big whole scheme. But anyways, we start this chapter off with Kate reacting to the fact that she's Anthony's big sister, big half sister. Again, I feel like you could say she's still the little sister, because she, like, while she was conceived first, she was still in the belly, in the womb for 50 something years. So I feel like she would still have to be considered the younger sister, but whatever. Kate is kind of in denial over all this because like she didn't see the backstory. Like, I don't know if Anthony told her at least a few important details or not, because again we have more of an idea because of the backstory what Anthony than Kate does. And Kate, what Anthony just said was probably just some. Well, it's probably just what we ended up on with him revealing that she's his big sister. So that's all she probably goes on, and she is in denial over it, and probably doesn't even know how true that is. Like, even if Anthony does have an insanely good resemblance to his father, it's not like Kate knows how her father looks like, so it doesn't really matter. But regardless, it does. What Kate actually is focused on is the fact that he knows more about her than anyone should, so she's in a danger zone. He can expose too much, and now he has pretty much, well, he has almost every single child in the entire child's wing, and the adult's wing is a helpless situation for Kate, so she's kind of stuck in a no-win situation. So she's very much in a negative space. And then while she's thinking to that, fake Christopher, or the new Christopher 2, whatever you want to call him, turns to Kate and proposes that she become his disciple. That Christopher wants to make a new future for the child's wing, with the Star Bearers being there to support him, and all that. Like, it's hard to say if this is like Christopher's own personal feelings, if this is just what Anthony told Christopher. But regardless, Christopher proposes this idea to him, which Kay remembers is what Anthony proposed when they first met. And yeah, Kate realizes all this and is processing, and basically we and basically Kate is giving a no choice situation here, because like everyone in the child's wing thinks, oh yeah, Christopher is so amazing and so great. Of course Kate will join, become his student. I mean, she's okay, but Christopher, I mean, if they put their forces together, they're definitely going to succeed and all that. Which is kind of, which again, like, I feel like if Anthony approached Kate in a less suspicious way, she would have probably joined and went alongside him and probably put him in air. I don't think she really cares about like the hierarchy that much, but because Anthony approached her in this way, she views him more as an enemy. So the reason why she's hesitant to join him is because, I mean, you're suspicious and a creep and a psychopath, Anthony. You're not exactly making Kate want to join you. And in this instance, Kate is forced to join Christopher and Anthony, because like everyone in the child's wing is, she has no allies. And even Anthony points out that yes, you could break the brainwashing on Emilico and your friends, but everyone else is an issue in the problem zone. So Kate realizes that she needs to join him one way. So, anyways, before Kate answers that, everyone all the brainwashers are like, Kate, encouraging her to join and become Christopher's students, which, funny enough, I don't think we actually see where Barbara or Bobby are in this chapter, which is kind of funny because like we spend this entire chapter kind of like going through all the characters, or the very least all the recognizable characters, and Barbara and Bobby are mysteriously gone. I don't know if that's supposed to imply that Bobby and Barbara took themselves, went out or what, or if they're just in a corner somewhere, because I think they were actually on the front stage, so it's kind of weird they're nowhere to be found in the chapter, but who knows, maybe I just missed them or something. I mean, again, they're not really the center focus, but regardless, Kate is peer pressured into joining Anthony, and she says, yes, I will be Christopher's student. And everyone's super happy about this, and then when she says that, she kind of, I don't want to say passes out, but it's kind of like all this is sort of is taking a toll on Kate, and she almost falls on the floor until one of the research guys catches her, and then we go basically into like a sort of throwing a direct throwing things in her face, because everyone does like the thing, quote something that they've been saying beforehand, or expressing their concerns and all that beforehand. But every time they say, "Oh, Christopher," like the research team tells her, "Oh, don't need to burden yourself with everything because now you have Christopher." Or, "Oh, don't, you can go relax. Christopher's gonna lead things until you recover." Oh, sorry, Kate. I know you had to deal with a lot after I got hurt, but don't worry. Now we have Christopher and Ricky also. Uh, Ricky and Candy also have the same kind of thing. It's just like we now have Christopher. We now have Christopher. Which, I really have to question what the hell was so amazing about the greatest generation that they are so fanatic about it to a point that even the students who have no idea who Christopher even is are calling him that. Like, I know there's brainwashing involved, how it was even revealed that Anthony's ability was brainwashing, and they are generally good manipulators, but like, this level of devotion just kind of feels like, I mean, there's at least some suggestion in your head. Like, you need to at least get the idea in your head beforehand for the brainwashing and all that to be so effective. So what the heck were these guys doing when they were in charge that they were so viewed so amazing? I mean, I guess like the only expansion in the story is the fact they were like the ones who sort of started the whole like educating all the kids, focusing on everyone becoming capable of being a star bearer and becoming an adult. They were the ones that started teams, and at least that's what I think it's supposed to be taken on. But I don't think it was ever fully like explained why these four were so much a color above the rest of them, especially considering how despicable a lot of these guys really are. I mean, granted, like I guess it's messed me. Again, there's probably some thematic reason, but like in the story, I question the idea a bit. But regardless, anyways, after getting everything thrown at her, Kate is just like, no, 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 I'm fine. Just need a little fresh air, and I'll come back later. As Kate, defeated that. Well, she doesn't. Well, it's kind of difficult to say that defeated the position, but basically just kind of removes herself from the entire thing in a very downer state. Whereas the Milico falls, so then we have all the kids again praising Anthony and Christopher, which is kind of a comical panel because it looks like just a doll being worshipped by a child. Kind of gives me Saki from 100 Girlfriends vibes. So she has like, "This is my gang," where it's just a bunch of like, I don't want to say newborn, but like a bunch of 4 or 5 year olds. Kind of gives me that kind of vibe, but whatever. It's a lot more sinister when you really think about it logistically. But anyways, Kate is walking the hallway, and Emilio, even in her brainwash, is like, "Mistress Kate, what's wrong?" And Kate is so done at this point she would even want advice from a brainwashed Christopher devoted Emilio. But as she is moving and asking Emilio, Douglas appears and wants to talk with Kate, and Kate is at first, "Now don't touch me," as then she looks at Douglas and Douglas and Doug, as Douglas screams at her, "Wait, we're not. Douglas is not brainwashed." As we see Douglas with his normal piercing blue eyes, and as yeah, they are definitely not brainwashed. So this is something that's been kind of a thing that you don't notice is the fact. Well, something that some people I do believe this was something that was mentioned when the initial chapters were coming out, or the first couple of chapters coming out. That wait, where's Doc? Is he not brainwashed? Is he an ally? Because like when it comes to so many characters, it's difficult to say where a character doesn't appear if that's intentional. We're just supposed to assume they're there. It's kind of like Barbara and Bobby in this chapter. We don't see them, but we can kind of but it's very likely the two of them are meant to be taken as there because like when would they have time to get out of the place? So no, yeah, and that's what's going on. So yeah, it was intentional the dog isn't there because he's not brainwashed. I'm not entirely certain if he was like skeptical about the brainwashing entirely or not, or maybe even if Kate gives them less brainwashing coffee, they would still be affected by it. But regardless, Doc isn't brainwashed, and right now he's one of the few allies that Kate has, and he's probably overjoyed about that. So yeah, the sport Ross for chapter 202 have already come out, so I'm not gonna go into theorizing mode about the next chapter. So we can just move on to Shy chapter 130, titled "Sinful Girl." I would say dumb parents, but if you want to call them this chapter a sinful girl, then you can call it sinful girl. So we start this off with back in the present current location where the train is currently with Stigma and Pilsey still being there as Pilsey is crying while Stigma is still kind of talking about the past and saying, mentioning one, and he's referring to one day as Pilsey is very sad because she knows which day he's referring to. She has memories about it. She just doesn't want to relive them once again. And she does actually try to like fight back, like she wants to kick him, but with her stumped legs. But Stigma is just able to block it easily. And Pilsen also remembered the words that she told to Shy about you have to. What was it? What was the line again? I should have really written that down. You can. You have to walk through. You have to live through it or something. Well, regardless, that sort of indirectly answers Stigma's question about you want to relive, or you want to go through those memories again. And yeah, he continues the book to into Pils's memories to get her to join him basically. As they get teleported to a memory where Pilsey was on a beach with her parents, which I'm going to have to assume was probably like after the whole I'm going like they said that the Flora is going to have Pilsey's mother is going to have a month-long break, but the father is also there, so I'm kind of going to assume that this is like maybe a week or a couple of time afterwards, like maybe Pilsey's father may have request that he should at least before. Well, actually, okay, it's actually not that easy to tell what exactly is going on, but basically, Pilsey's father is able to go on a break right now, so they decided to go on a beach because the next location that Pilsey's father is gonna go to is very near to where they are currently. So I guess they decided to just have a day or two on the beach. So we have the family being on a beach as Pilsey plays in the water while Pierce's parents discussed about like when was the last time the two of them were together and were having a beach vacation. As he tells her that the last time they would like this together like this was on after their honeymoon, which now makes me think that Pierce was one of those children that's in the womb while her parents are being married. But whatever, they are talking about that, and yeah, they're very clearly getting more happy about their situation. And after their little beach fun, they go to the dining room, as as we as Pilse's father explains to her that he's joining Black Cross, which is a bit confused. And basically, Black Cross is a I want to call it charity organization that's main point is going around to post-war zones because it's like one thing that's in the story is like there's been a war not that long ago, and it's like a situation, and this is explained that the city that they're currently on, the country they're currently in, was has ended a war a year ago. Like last year is when the war ended, thanks to the heroes emerging, all that. So this organization, Battle Cross, is meant to go there and go and help the people there, the civilians who are still living in those cities that have been destroyed by war. And I also imagine that after these war zoned areas, they would also then go help generally countries that don't really have a lot of capabilities to live on their own, like Thumping's, the country that Thumping's little uh, plushie club was previously before he moved everyone to Neverland. But regardless, he explains that he'll be joining the organization and he'll be traveling a lot. He'll go from different places and all that and helping people. And people say isn't really a big fan of that because now she's gonna spend even less time with her father because like father's already very far away and all, but now he's also going to be traveling all over the place. And yeah, now Pierce's father asks her if she was unhappy about this decision, if she doesn't like it, as Bill said, tells her, oh no, it's a great thing, even though she's in reality very sad about it because, she wants to be with her father. Like, her father's already not at home a lot of times, and they barely really have time to play or interact with one another, and now he's gonna be even farther away. Probably gonna be coming home even fewer times, and she's just going to have to kind of live with it. It's not exactly the best situation. And like I understand the idea, I understand the necessity, I understand the importance, but I really feel like the father needs to realize that his daughter is like 8 years old, so it's gonna come like all of this is gonna come back to bite him in a few years, like when she's a young adult and he's gonna have more time on his hands. Like I really do feel like he wants is kind of. I mean, I understand why, but it feels like he's sort of completely ignoring the possibility of missing all of Pilse's growing up years, if you get my drift. But anyways, then we have Pilse's mother chirping in, and she tells him, "I know you would rather be with your father, that you love your father, not your mother, but it's all good." But Pilse is like, she uh, and Pilse's mother also tells her that she will not change to be a better parent, to like do more when she's home. Like when she's on break, she will spend more time trying to play with Pilse. She's gonna try to cook for Pilse, trying to be the parent that Pilse is very much lacking in the current situation. Because like I feel like even she stands that after like passing out, it didn't make her realize I think I've been a little too dedicated to work to a point of insanity. Let's be honest to ourselves. I mean, the way that her ideal of if you can't help people, then you're useless and might as well die is a very toxic mindset. So she probably realized that. It's probably the limits of a human body that's made her realize, and now wants to make up for it. And Beyonce is very happy about it, and she says that she loves both of their parents and all that. And then after that little exchange in the dinner, we go from a very touching, a very real to a very stupid moment where essentially we just need a tragic backstory and a way to make Pilse losing her legs so much more tragic. Even though if this happened in real life, there'll probably be multiple things that would stop this from happening to begin with. But whatever, we need the plot to move along, as we have Pilse going with her mother and father to where the Black Cross organization currently is. So she is going to this war zone cityscape where all of her parents are discussing this was the smart idea. It wasn't. As her father's like, it was a really, you two could have just waited, gone home. I don't really care. As Flora tells him, no, she will go home tomorrow. We just need to show her so she understands why you have to do this. Although I'm pretty sure you're breaking that vacation you were supposed to be taking in Florida. I mean, it is heavily implied that the reason why they're going out beach is because of that month-long vacation that she was put on. So I don't really understand how working black girls is a really exactly a great idea. Especially, it's like the whole point is you being on a break here, woman. Like, I know some people have more active activities, but I mean, this isn't going on. This isn't you going on a mountain climb when you are a month on a break. This is you going to do your job basically, just in a different location. But who knows? Maybe there's some time skipping. Like maybe the vacation, like maybe this was something. The beach vacation was something that was decided before, after that she was on that month-long break. But whatever. They are going there, and the father also tells her there's going to be a lot of bombs and landmines that may still not have been activated since war, because this country was in a war state literally last year, and now they're just helping recovering the system. Which again, and this is just stupid. Why would you bring a child to a place where you literally know there are still, or at least there's still a high possibility that there are bombs in. You're just asking for trouble at that point. And also to stay near him, but considering the fact, he has to kind of run away and run around the place and, help people medically, that's not gonna work. So as you might imagine, they just gave her a Black Cross flag and told her to stand around there while they do all the work, because telling her to stay in a tent, it would be too much or something. But regardless, Pilsay is standing there and she's like watching her parents like working all that, and then we get the more mature depiction of what our hero is, the same type as like MHA did, with showing us what the normal people can do to help, what would be heroes to us basically. As Pilsay looks at that, and she kind of realizes that her parents are, heroes for what they're doing, and she starts to understand more why her mother, was so dedicated to working. Personally, I feel like consider the fact that she overworked herself, I don't think a really good justification. And explains, and now he's starting to feel guilty about everything that she said. Now she feels like a greedy child, although again, you're a fucking 8-year-old and your parents seem to kind of just be absent for your most of your life. Like again, I'm pretty sure that your parents are gonna be the ones who are gonna be regretting the decision if you're a young adult and you don't want to interact with them anymore or don't have time to interact with them anyways. Like, I don't think anyone here of you guys is actually winning in this situation. But regardless, she understands the importance, she understands the necessity, and is feeling guilty, which is, Bill says a young child is a little girl, but she's pretty smart, so she can understand stuff like this and all that, and is now, I guess, more able to see why her parents are so absent, and like why her father would rather go on a treating a patient than spending time with her. So yeah. Anyways, now she's like remembering her words when she told him that she hated him, so she wants to apologize to him, but it's been so long, so she thought that it'd be kind of weird like he wouldn't really understand why she's apologizing if she did apologize. I feel like she could just like start talking about like that time to bring it up and then say I'm sorry for that comment, but whatever. But whatever, she feels like she has to do something more, as she then spots a flower growing in the land, and she remembers what they said earlier about like that after the war zone, the flowers and everything and the beauty will um, restart, will grow again, because like one example that they also put is that fact that that beautiful beach they were on previously is actually very close to the city that they're currently in. So this is like a example of how the city is gonna like return, what the Black Cross organization is gonna do to restore to that beautiful nature. And yeah, mm, uh, and yeah, Belse goes there to look at the flower and thinks that she could give her to her mother because that's like the thing that she wanted to give her mother a flower, but then she kicked it away. But this time it's gonna be better because she'll get a flower from a place that's is devastated, and now it's gonna show like an active symbol of and growing and all that type of stuff, picturesque scenarios and all that. But as you might have imagined, with her going a bit further away from the camp, it's ambiguous about how far away from the camp she is. It's like one of those things where it's like, I mean, she looks like she's away from the camp because of how she's looking at her parents and the tent set up, but then she like walks around a bit and then goes even further down. But then you have her father going to her very quickly, so it's like one of those like things where it's like there's also like some distance, so they're not able to hear one another completely and clearly. So yeah. Anyways, Pilsey goes to that area. That's what's gonna happen. As parents wonder where exactly is Pilsey, and be like, "Oh, that child has run around again." As as Pilsey screams to them, behind them is like, "Hey, look, their flower is growing." As their parents look around, they see that giant. I want to say, I think someone's referred to as a landmine or a bomb or something, but they see one of those unactivated bombs that was still placed, which makes me question again how close were you guys to that bomb, because that bomb is very clearly there. And when I say clearly there, I don't mean like you can spot like one piece of it. Like the whole fucking bomb is like there's a hole in the wall, and I mean in the other side of that hole there's a bomb that's clearly there. Like, I'm not blaming Pilsen not understanding what that is. That is a bomb and she should stay away from it. Like, I don't blame her. But I'm questioning the people who set up this camp, because why would you, in any sense, put your camp this close to one unactive bomb? At least fucking activate the bomb before you set up camp. And just to be clear, I'm referring to like trigger it beforehand, because the way this bomb actually gets triggered is literally just a piece of rock that fell on its top. So I feel like there was a way you could have just triggered that. Like, I'm certain there's ways you can remove bombs and landmines in from a safe distance or something. I feel like there should be, right? I'm not crazy to think there are ways to remove them, right? Or activate them or whatever. But regardless, these people didn't set this up. They were too busy focusing on, well, admittedly helping the civilians and all that. But you got what I mean? Like, there was a bomb. You should have prevented it. You should have done something about that. But they didn't. So now Pils's fire is running towards her. I'm not sure if he spotted the rock falling, because the distance again is kind of questionable. But I'm going to have to assume that he's just instinctively running towards her to like grab her and take her away from that. As then there's a crumbling piece of rock that's falling on her. As well, not falling on Pills, falling on the bomb. As father gets behind her and grabs her, which I'm guessing his idea was just in case if there was an explosion that he would take the brunt of it, even if he didn't know if the bomb's gonna be activated quickly. But regardless, it's a good thing he did. Or maybe he spotted it while he was running towards her. But regardless, he grabbed her to block, and the bomb exploded behind him. So, as then we end the chapter off on Bill saying, "I killed my father," referring to the explosion. And honestly, Bill, I understand where you got the guilt. I do understand why you think you are responsible for it, but it's mostly just incompetence on your parents and the Black Cross organization. Like, it really makes a question, like, was Black Cross organization just a bunch of, like, idealistic doctors working or something? Because I really feel like any competent, like, individual, any, like, person who has experience with this kind of stuff, any military individual, anything that would, like, helps here, I feel like any one of them would be able to tell. Oh, by the way, if you see a bomb a couple of miles away from where you plan to set up camp, don't like, make sure that area is for at least several miles away from the bomb. Oh, you bring your 8-year-old daughter here? Yeah, the thing is, your 8-year-old daughter is a child, so can you tell her to just stay in tent? Or can you make sure someone, a maid, or anyone is always with her so she doesn't uh, miss a fucking bomb being around her or anything like that? Because, like, literally, outside of the fact there's a literal bomb there and a little rock that's put in an X zone, there's nothing that would prevent anyone, or a child, to notice it. Unless that child is already aware of what these things means. And basically wasn't aware what these things mean, so she just, the accident happened. So, yeah, that's how Percy lost her father and lost her legs. Which, again, like, this is one of those backstories where it feels like they just want to make it tragic for the sake of tragic, but whatever. I suppose it's a good thing, at least, that we see a very good Percy character moment with her still being able to go to these places and helping people, because, like, remember, like, I believe it was, like, literally the first episode of season 1, well, season 2, where we see Percy being in one of those organizations again, but and helping people from a flooded area as they are there to help. And she's there, and she's kind of in a similar situation here. Kind of foreshadowed, honestly, where stones are falling down on her, and she's able to break it. First one, but the second one is broken by Stardust, which funny enough, Stardust is name dropped in this chapter, but regardless, that's the situation with Pierce's backstory, and yeah, this is just a bad backstory chapter. It's just kind of silly. So yeah, anyways, after Shai's awful backstory chapter, we have Four Nights of the Apocalypse, chapter 160, titled Off to Enfine. Ironically, we don't see much of Enfine this chapter or anything, or even end this chapter off with Enfine, but whatever. I guess we just need a fill-in chapter, the title, but whatever. So yeah, anyways, we start this chapter off with the Percy, Platoon, and Gawain, kind of reacting to what Kyne said about Arthur and how Arthur acted when they were kids and all that, and they're kind of shocked, and they're really shocked by this because they don't have that interpretation of the Arthur that he kind of is, especially with how he's acting their first interactions with him and all the the thing is, we know how sinister Arthur truly is as a cap villain in the Four Nights of the Apocalypse. So him finding out that he was such a pure individual early on, to a point that his own brother hated him, is absolutely denying that is his brother, says a lot about it. Which is, to be fair, something that was also foreshadowed before, and with Meliodas saying we will bring you back or something. So is it Cuff controlling him? Is it Chaos doing something to him? We don't really know, but regardless, Gang is kind of shocked by this. But anyways, then we have Gawain leading them to the kitchens, explaining that her chef can help them with the weapons and all that. As they get to the kitchen, as then we see a giant man, well, alright, a giant individual cooking, as Gawain greets them and calls this guy Dobby, which is the guy that she was referencing when they were learning about about this great craftsman, blacksmith that was making the coffin into darkness, and I think the 7 sins and all weapons and all that. He mentions he and this is the chef that Gawain mentioned, and it turns out that Gawain's a little naming mistake that she made, because the name of the blacksmith is Dobbs, but this guy's name is Dobby, but it's actually because Gawain nicknamed him Dobby. Something that he didn't agree, because this is the Dobbs that created the 7 sins, the cover to darkness, as well as the weapons from the 7 sins, and the one that's been in the third movie. So a little funny foreshadowing when you think about it. We think it was just, oh, Gawain is just being silly with a little joke about her misunderstanding Dobbs' name by naming him Dobby, but no, it's literally because she calls Dobbs Dobby. Which is kind of funny with looking back. It does make kind of wonder if couples are gonna react to that stuff. I guess I don't really know if Tristan, Splatoon, or Anton would really have that funny reactions, but I definitely can see Meliodas or someone else on the group having more funny reactions to be like, Wait a minute. You telling me the blacksmith uh, that you called Dob Dobby and the chef is actually the Dobbs blacksmith that we were looking for? Seriously? I thought you just being dumb. I mean, look at this group. You guys, half of you guys are buffoons. Do you have you guys even know how to tie your shoelaces for crying out loud? So yeah, they are shocked by this because also the going didn't click that they were referring to Dobby. They thought she thought that they were referring to someone else, but she thought Dobby would be like a good blacksmith person because to her Dobbs is actually the best cook in the land, while blacksmithing is his hobby, which he's actually a bit offended by because it's actually the opposite. He's a professional blacksmith, but he's a cook on the upside. So he's just working here because Gawain's grandmother selected him for this job, which we'll get into Gawain's grandma a bit later. But regardless, Wei In is also shocked by this and is kind of like pissed off at Dobbs for not telling her, but he did tell her. She just, I guess, like one of those things when she was introduced, when they were introduced to one another, she immediately gave him a nickname and it just sticked, and he sort of just got stuck with the name, but he didn't really give a shit because what we find out in this chapter is that Dobbs doesn't really care much about stuff. But anyways, Dobbs. We see how much dedicated Dobbs is to cooking because he actually like has a little scene where he's like, "Oh, the corn I was preparing is actually 10 seconds after I'm actually 10 seconds late from when I was supposed to take them out, but now I guess I'm just gonna have to take them, just get rid of them and restart from scratch." But anyways, then he asks, "What the hell are you guys here? You're not supposed to be in here without my permission, all that." But whatever at this point, as Gawain tells him that she needs him to make weapons for her friends and for everyone. As Dobbs tells her no, and Gawain's angry, "How dare you refuse from your mistress?" But he just tells her, I'm your chef, not your blacksmith. So if I don't want to, I don't have to." As then Percival also is a little confused by this as well because he's like, "Wait, oh, Dobbs, the guy we need him to make weapons for Lancelot. Oh, I got it," because he's a bit slow as well. Like it's kind of funny how both of them two are a bit slow on this, on the uptake. But regardless, Percival is very hyper about meeting Dobbs. He informs Sam that, "Oh, Dobbs, we're actually looking for you. You see, a friend of our Lancelot has so much magic power that every weapon he uses just ends up breaking. So we need you to make a weapon for him. Would that be fine?" As in, Dobbs like, "Wait, your friend has so much magic power that he actually breaks all of the weapons that he uses? Oh, that's a first. Oh yes, I am definitely helping you with that. Like that's definitely something. All right, you've convinced me. Like one of those. Like he's a blacksmith. He's a very dedicated craftsman. So now when he got an interesting proposal about making a weapon, he's all in for it. So, anyways, he's now all in, and he's like, "All right, come closer to him." As he's then starts grabbing nonsense comes close to him, and he then starts grabbing nonsense all over the place and very inappropriate spots, and but Nonsense gets so scared that he actually gets behind Percival. He's like, "You shouldn't be doing that," but Dobbs tells him that it's just his process. In order to get the weapon I want, I need to know exactly about people. Besides just the generic things, I also need to know your body, your magic attributes and smaller details. Like whenever you have a character who's very talented at their work, they always like need unnecessary details to get like the right weapon. It's similar to Uta in Tokyo Ghoul, where he before he was making a mask and he had to know what was uh Toka's preferences in women. Is he into well actually no Toka. It Ken. He was asking Ken about like his preferences in women and all that, and he has, "Oh, how do you feel about Toka and all that type of stuff?" So it's kind of one of those scenes, but this time it's a little bit more violating because he's like touching all over the place. Like we even see like a thing like, "All right, his arms, his legs, all right, let's see your thighs, blah blah blah." So he's looking at, oh, look, you have the sacred tree, the mantle for my sacred tree. All right, this is gonna be okay. I see. I'll be able to do here. So yeah, he explains his process, and then he's like, all right, and you're next, and Anne doesn't want her because she has a traditional female body, so him like groping her and all that is probably it pulls her. But then Dobbs tells her, do not worry. I don't care about human lives. I only care about what kind of weapon I should make for you. That's it. And then Gawain's like, well, then Anne's like, well, guess what? My ability allows me to, that's my ability. If you are lying, you'd be punished for it because, that's how her power works. The fact that anyone who makes a deception is going to fall. But Dobbs doesn't fall, meaning that he legitimately doesn't give a shit about human lives. He just cares about what weapons to make them. So Guan is kind of like actually now even more pissed out the fact that you actually don't give a shit about anything. But Donnie wants to like show up and like, all right, and don't be a baby here. I'll go ahead of you to see it's fine. But then Dobbs just tells him, no, you go to a shower because he stinks probably because of all his panic and all the damage that he's taken. So Donnie's like kind of embarrassed by the fact that he was called stinky. Although to be fair, with how Dobbs is, I feel like his standard is a little higher than everyone else's. But regardless, Donnie probably goes to the bath while Anne gets checked for weapons. I don't think Wayne gets checked for weapons, but we have to wait and see. I mean, she does have a different weapon in the end of the story, but again, in that silhouette, she was also a man, so 50-50. But regardless, they get checked for weapons, and then they go waiting until all the route to the cauldron gets set. And they're just kind of, no, actually, I think they're just like sitting somewhere waiting for stuff as uh, Grandma tells them that the route to the cauldron is gonna be soon selected, and they'll soon be heading in that direction. While Colin just is like reading his newspaper, like, well, I guess we'll be leaving soon. Good for the children. Good for the children. As Gawain also mentions that all of the magic that she knows it's actually from grandma because Percival mentions how great her grandma is and all that. As she tells him that, and this has actually spurred a little theory that maybe the grandma is actually Merlin in disguise, or at least something associated with Merlin, because like she met like Gwen is really skilled when it comes to the magic that she wields. Like she's shown that she's very capable. Like Gwen may not be the strongest, and maybe like one of the more like she's not as powerful as like Askino was in his prime, but she's very skilled when it comes to her magic selection. It's actually the reason why I think she's the strongest sunshine user without I think her name of magic is actually Dawn, but whatever. She's the strongest sunshine user. So without the power boost from sunshine. So yeah, Wayne mentions that she learned anything from her, and this is the reason why people. So yeah, they are in a say. So yeah, they are questioning about. So yeah, this is gonna spur out some theories, which honestly at this point I feel like pretty much everyone is suspected to be Merlin, because like you have that like one old lady that was in the background in one chapter resembling one of the original concept arts or one of the disguises that was planned for Merlin, looking similar, so they thought that was her. They I think there was like one other thing that was suspected to be Merlin. Maybe Walden was supposed to be Merlin. Like at this point, because we don't know where Merlin is, we're pretty much expecting everyone's gonna be Merlin. But whatever, we have to wait and see on that part. But anyways, after that, they depart to the coffin, like to the cauldron. As then we cut to a different land where we see some maiden running around as then a giant monster that has like a. It looks like one of those weird creatures that is like, I want to say it kind of reminds me of a less head of a Chinese dragon, but more squished together with arms and legs and being very wide. So that thing's attacking her as a knight comes and cuts that creature down. As the maiden is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Tantris." as this Tantress Knight tells her you shouldn't be moving, I told you it's dangerous, and now you got all dirty and all that. As this person tells her, no, but I want to give you a flower and all that. As this person holds out its flower, and then Tantress tells this girl, you shouldn't be getting yourself in danger and getting dirty, my beloved. It's so as we see that this Tantress person is Christian, all grown up, and judging by proportion is actually pretty damn big, considering the fact this is the same Isold than was in beforehand. Then yeah, he got big. Well, either that or his soul got shrank. Because unlike Gawain, who was kind of ambiguous to say how, Gawain when she was introduced, it was kind of ambiguous if she was still normal or was she brainwashed or something. This is, I would say, very clear supposed to be memory changing stuff because like Isold has different. I think she has more like angelic sort of eyes shapes, and she seems to be kind of the same size as Tristan. So it makes me kind of think that she's actually used this Camelot to make herself appear small, and making me question if she even is in the cauldron or if cauldron is like 10 times worse when it comes to stuff like this. I don't really know. It's kind of difficult to say exactly. This is like supposed to be some different fantasy land, like the same fantasy that Jericho was in, wanted, or if this is something else. And Tantress is just Christian. I'm not certain that Tantress is just like a translation issue, since that's always a possibility, or if Tantress is just like supposed to be a literal thing that Christian has changed because Christian's thing was like not being kind of the biggest fan of his father, who has a lot of like parent trouble, father issues. So it does make so I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe his fantasy version he would be not his father, or that he would not be associated with his father. So like no different name do not even be is not the name that his father chose for him. Because I believe that the final chapter of Citizens, or before the penultimate chapter for Citizens, do believe has ended with Bon and Meliodas coming up with their names for their sons. So I could totally see Tristan in Camelot's dreamscape, imagining just being a different son to a point of being having a different name and everything. So yeah, or maybe he just heard like Elizabeth. That's the name that Elizabeth was thinking of, but she preferred Meliodas' option. But regardless, we have these two in the escape, and I'm assuming they're more clearly brainwashed and under some kind of weird mind control. We'll find out if that's like a separate thing, or if they're in the cauldron, or what. But we have to wait and see on that front. So yeah, anyways, after 4 nights, we go to a different fantasy land with Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, chapter 167, titled "Our Friend Waiting on Savage Seas." Yeah, that is indeed true. Although I would say frozen over, but more than waiting on the savage seas, but whatever. So yeah, anyways, we start this chapter with just getting a bit of a reminder about how powerful Brandish is, because Caramel in her hyper dragon form tries to attack Brandish, but Brandish just quickly shrinks herself down, increases the size of the coil below her, then outmaneuvers her, gets below Carmel, then increases her fist and sends Caramel up in the air, completely decimating her because, Brandish is supposed to be a really powerful witch, and I has to remind us of that because I don't think it's like that in your head as much as for some other characters. So, yeah, Brandish is just kicking ass this chapter with Caramel, and also Caramel is not really a fire. Like, this dragon form is the only power that this bitch has, so it's not that hard to imagine that Brandish would be able to take her down, or anyone that has, like, the advantage enough combat against Caramel would be able to take her down quickly. So, yeah, anyways, Lucy and Brandish reunite a bit as, Lucy is very happy to see Brandish, but Brandish is kind of indifferent. She's probably happy as well, but it's like she doesn't show it in the same sense, or maybe she's more conflicted about her feelings about it. But regardless, Then Brandish asks her about like this body swap thing that happened when they were finding the alchemist guild, because like Brandish had like no idea why she suddenly looked like Lucy. She just was like, "Say, would you guys? Is this deal still on in his body as well?" Or like, "Oh, do you have some different clothing?" Like mess with Brandish with Lucy a bit. So yeah, funny enough, Lucy doesn't bring up the clothing thing. Although to be fair, at this point she probably doesn't even give a shit about what kind of skimpy outfit she's in, outside of, like the initial reactions. But regardless, Lucy, oh like yeah, that was our story. One of our enemies has this kind of weird ability. But yeah, anyways, then Lucy asks Brandish about what she's doing here, and didn't you haven't you managed to sense it? I'm here because I sensed Aquarius key, and look, as we conveniently see where Aquarius key is, as we see that's actually inside of Lacrima, which Lucy does ask, how did it get into Lacrima? Which, this doesn't make you want, like, I don't know if this is meant to be like a big thing or something that's gonna be hinted at throughout the arc, like, we're gonna see the Aquarius key in Lacrima, but are we also gonna find some other things in these Lacrimas that gotta be noteworthy? I already know, but regardless, they spot this, and Lucy is heading for this as Brandish cuts her path. And also, no, I will get I will be the one to get Aquarius. She belongs to my mother, so I will have her. As Lucy tells her, Aquarius is not a property. She's my friend. So please let me go ahead. Which I don't know. I mean, I get that these two are supposed to be kind of rivals, and even then Lucy's like, I guess we are both trying to get the keys so that she would count as my rival. But I don't know if but I don't really like feel like they are talking the most logical way. I feel like funny enough, while they don't say it, Lucy does get to has a more mature understanding when she's later in the chapter. Actually, pretty soon in the chapter, but regardless, they have like this little spot about it, which does make sense. I mean, the two of them are supposed to be competing for the key, but it's just, kind of we're not really the best dialogue. I feel like what Lucy should have said is like, look, all right, fine, you can keep the key, but I don't. But can we at least get the key out, and then we can come to an understanding? Because actually, why doesn't Lucy just offer ask Brian to join the guild? I mean, logistically speaking, Brandish doesn't really have allegiance to everyone when you break it down, outside of like Aquarius. But so why doesn't Lucy just say, "Hey, Brandish, let's talk about who gets the key after, or maybe we can come to an understanding." I mean, after all, you don't really have. Does Brandish even have a home place to go to live in? No, I think about it. I mean, she has like that boat that she can live on. But like, why doesn't she just go live with Lucy or something? But well, regardless of how this rival is gonna be going, they can't really start a proper fight because Mer- Mercophobia shows up, because obviously he would be around there, as he's kind of just slithering or swimming around the Lacrima. But it does make kind of wonder what kind of relationship this raged out Mechophobia's transformation form of Carmel have, because Carmel was still like his bodyguard. So it's kind of a weird thing, but whatever. Mechophobia is swimming around them as Lucy's panicking, and Brandish tells her that even her magic will not work on a dragon god, which makes me kind of wonder if this means that she. I think it is kind of the same thing as she brought up against Alderon, which he's too. But I think when it came to Alderon, she said he was too big and too magically powerful for her to shrink him, to be able to deal with him easily, or something like on that line. So it's kind of a weird thing where now she says that it will not work on a dragon. She specifically says dragon, so it makes us think that her power doesn't work on them on a normal sense. Or maybe it's like a thing where the dragon's overwhelming size already will make it very difficult for her to beat them with her just increasing her size and increasing throws that she throws in them. But regardless, I'm assuming that Banished can fight against a dragon. It's just that in this instance, it's not really gonna be much of a, a factor. It's not gonna be as effective. But yeah, anyways, Lucy then gets like straight down to business and tell in Spanish. All right, we'll definitely need the Lacrima. Okay, so basically, if we destroy the Lacrima, there should be a good chance that he would return back to normal, and then at that point, he's an ally. Ally. So you go get the key. You go get destroy the Lacrima, and I will distract them while you deal with that. As Banishers, they're like, oh, I could just take the key and leave. Although, to be fair, you do have to crack the criminal bitch to get the key. But regardless, she tells her, how do you know I'm not just going to do that? As Lucy is just like, because that's not the type of person you are. 50-50, although I guess he isn't like the biggest backstabber in the world, but whatever. Lucy trusts Brandon that she'll destroy Lacrima. And yeah, we also see what's gonna happen later because like we do end this chapter off in a way that does make it feel like Brandish would help Lucy in some way or another. But anyways, Lucy goes to deal with macrophobia and first tries to like a bit reason him at least enough. I'm assuming at least enough to a point that he would start hesitating because she told him, "You side with humans. You wanna live alongside humans. It's Ignial that's forcing you to do this. So please come to your senses." As then she tries to attack a bit, but it doesn't really work. So uh, Mercphobia with his power just sends her in the air a bit above the water. As then we cut to back to Nacho versus Brian as he slams Brian down. As Nacho asks where is Ignia, and Brian just tells him that you're too late. The Age of Dragons is beginning. As we get to the final panel of the chapter with Necrophobia eating Lucy, or at least appearing to eat Lucy, while in reality it's probably going to be revealed that either Lucy got shrunk by Brandish to survive, or Brandish is gonna be giant next chapter and punch Necrophobia out, so Lucy will be spit out. But regardless, it's a cliffhanger chapter to end it. I am kind of curious if this is like an end of a volume chapter because like this would be kind of a very nice little end of a volume thing, like, oh, you have the Age of the Dragons upon us is beginning, but then you have like and you have a dragon got eating Lucy, one of the main characters. I that's kind of make sense to be end of a volume, but we'll have to wait and see when on what point of the volume this chapter's gonna be. And that's the other chapter. As then we go from fantasy to superheroes with One Punch Man, chapter 203, titled Neo Leaders. So, wow, we are really changing the story from webcomic to the manga. But anyways, we picked this chapter off from Shiryu from the last chapter. With Shiryu crying that he got himself stuck working for the Neo Heroes because he was first just trying to like get some information, then quit and go join the Hero Association. But now he's kind of stuck being there, and he's also becoming on the upper echelons. So yeah, as he's being introduced to Metalbat, and basically here this part of the story or the beginning of the chapter is basically all of the characters who've been introduced in the Hero Association now being a part of the new heroes. Like we have Metalbat, Child Emperor or Wild Emperor now, Psychic Guy, that McCoy, I believe the the douchebag scummy guy with the eye patch and the like kind of big like spiky or pompadour type of hairstyle. As they sort of explained to him that they will decide to change careers because this place has like more flexible and more of a future side. While our Hero Association was kind of like just prioritizing on talents, while leaving everything up to the air, new heroes are gonna be focusing on more developing, making the heroes stronger and stronger. So it's not just gonna be oh, you're very talented, so you'll be talented, so you're gonna be A or S class hero. But if you're just like your average, you're just gonna be somewhere in C to B C or B tier class hero. So here explains what all the better things. And then we also have Super Darkshine revealing him, showing up and telling him, "Oh, I failed as a hero, so and when the new heroes came to me and told me I can, if I don't want to be a hero anymore, I can just be an instructor for the next generation of heroes. I decided to agree. I'm just happy I can help." Because, like, Super Darkshine, we got a big confidence debuff after the whole Monster Association raid, with him being, overwhelmed by Fur Ugly of all monsters. So, yeah, he's now scarring. Even, like, he again has, like, these, like, weird. So, it's kind of hard to say if he's, like, permanently scarred or if he's just, like, envisioning those scars, because, like, he has, like, gloves and a shirt on, which in the last time we saw, he was like imagining the scars that he got from the Fur Ugly, even though he might have been recovered from that. But regardless, Super Darkshire is like very down on himself because of all that. And yeah, there's also something all bickering and mocking, talking about things like second our matches. Like, don't put us all of us in the same category as you, McCoy. So yeah, these guys are now kind of interactive because these are the ones that we already are well established to and already know. As then we get some of the new Neo heroes, the new Neo characters that we are having introduced now, and the first one is Ryumon, who actually has appeared in the manga beforehand because he was the guy that McCoy was talking to a couple of chapters back. And yeah, his thing is like he was a gangster, a yakuza kind of guy in before, and now he's changing his way of life and becoming a hero with now his I think 200 or 400, I think it's 400 members of the yakuza gang now joining. Heroes being like, we had a change of heart, and now we will be focusing on. Saving their life, doing good for people, for all the bad stuff we've done, and alright, so basically the Neo Heroes can split in three groups when it comes to what side they have. They can basically be either Hero associations that are questioning Neo Heroes' true motives and are suspicious of them. Spoilers, but in the manga, it's actually fakely that's what some of the Hero, Hero Association members are doing, except for Wild Emperor, but still nothing important. I think it's that difficult to see that Wild Emperor would get suspicious. You get the true heroes who are kind of indifferent to the whole thing, or at least are not suspicious. That's Shiryu, why because Excel and the Sumo guy. And then we have the guys who may be aware of what the new heroes' true motives are and are helping them and are share villains. And Newman is one of those guys. He is a pretty, he's pretty suspicious. He's already acting like a very big douche. And yeah, Newman's here and he kind of talks and chastises at and makes fun of Darkshot because this guy was supposed to be an S-class hero, but now he's not even capable of, actually entering and just is like, just there for training. And while he's kind of making fun of him, we didn't have Axel showing up and being kind of a. I'll be honest, I don't really like Axel. He just gives me vibes of that he's being the gives me like super self-righteous emo boy vibes right now as he tells Excel, he tells Human, uh, no amount of good deeds is going to erase your evil past. As he's like going into Human's face, as Human tells us, we all had a change of heart. We all had a change of heart. We're not working on the safety of people. As Excel, and we get like a little brief explanation on Excel, like he's a member of the Hunters, who's like a group of 47 members, who's a big, very charismatic leader. For some reason, I'm guessing it's the fangirl type of exploration leader, who inspired a lot of people by being regular civilians who took on arms and defeated monsters. Which we actually did get Axel beforehand when in one chapter when one of the Hero Association members was looking around to recruit him, but he was being a big douche to her, I'm going for douche to her, I was making kind of pointing out about all the bad deeds that Hiroshin was doing, and yeah, I'm not a fan of Excel. Like he and his rollerblading, trying to look cool ass are just annoying. But anyways, then we get another new character who is in Felsinave, who is a cult leader who believes in the cycle of reincarnation, and their whole thing is like, we need to help the mindless sheep to inspire them in one way. I'm assuming that a lot of these explanations are just Michael giving a brief synopsis of what these members are, and now he's giving a brief synopsis on being like, he has like 2,000 something followers. In the last couple of months, his number followers have increased, and yeah. Don't get excited for Felsinave because he's kind of just sort of. He's just kind of there to be a sort of plot quota, just sort of. He's there, but that's about it. I am not. I really don't give a shit about him. Although I'll be honest, they should make him a lot more like physically opposing in the manga than he's in the webcomic. Because in the webcomic, he gives me kind of average Joe kind of vibes. While in the manga, he's actually. I want to say he's actually like a pretty big guy. He looks to be like the one of like outside of the muscle beefcakes like like Dark Shine and the sumo guy. He seems to be pretty much the biggest guy in the room. He seems to be like the next one of the biggest guys in the room, and kind of has a pretty good form. So who's to see how manga is gonna adapt his moment, but regardless, he's there. As then we get another new member introduced, who is Zydit, who is just your standard like business corporation guy. Who explains that he's actually, I think he's like a millionaire or 40 million, 40 million or something like that. He's like a really rich person who's actually like one of the main investors in the Neo Heroes equipment and all of that stuff. So he's explaining he's also one of the Neo leaders. And one of the members like, wait, I mean, I'm happy about you being invested in all, and thank you for that. But is it really smart to have you be on the front lines? Like, the thing, I think it's Malbat or someone like, isn't it a bit dangerous about having you as Zayden Zentel's tries to comfort everybody saying, do not worry, I put the most amount of my money on the equipment I'll be using against monsters. If you read the webcomic, you know why that's hilarious. But regardless, he's talking about that, and while he's talking to them, he's actually be like, poor people. Not certain what that's supposed to be, if he's like making fun of them, because like he just has poor people in his mind. So I'm kind of guessing that he doesn't view them very highly, which again, it's probably supposed to be a parody of the whole evil businessman kind of trope. So we'll see, or businessmen don't give a shit about their people and all that. I'm not sure this was in a manga. If we had like a in a monologue bubble, he just makes fun of them being like poor people or something. He always does say something to those lines when he's has his moment, let's call it. But whatever. But it doesn't really matter. He's just kind of there. Honestly, he just kind of looks like your standard, like having a businessman or like a rich guy who's like decently good looking and handsome and built, but he's nothing really special about that. I do have to wonder what kind of suit is he gonna have, because his suit kind of looks more like a Crimson Dynamo type of suit, but he might have a more fancy one a more fancy one in the anime, in the manga, but whatever. Anyways, after Zaidat, we actually get reintroduction to one that we've seen actually literally in the last chapter, being why Biganza, why Bigyaza, or why Gaza? I don't know. Before they called her Wabiganza, but in this cover they went with why. So now it feels like it's supposed to be like why Biganza or something. or Gyaza or something like that. I don't know. It's like a really weird name now. Like it was already a weird name, but it's even more. And that's the idol hero, and that was in the last chapter that Shiryu saw, and was kind of like the thing that got him. Okay, maybe we should look into what the new heroes are. And she comes in and apologizes to everyone, saying that her eyelashes took a lot of time to be done and all that type of stuff. You know, she's an idol. She's not really gonna take half the time that she's not in the hero. She's probably gonna be dedicated to making sure she appears great. And then we have McCoy explaining him and telling that she has like a lot of that she's a form that she's an idol that was on a hiatus for a few months, nothing 5 months. She's comparable to a My Mask. Which I actually do want now want to see a battle between YB Gonza and Tatsumaki to have like a fight while they're both wearing idol dresses, which would be great. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see that, but unfortunately we don't have. But I don't think we're gonna get that. Although actually, I think in the manga they do state that she does have some kind of psychic powers, but it's not really clear. Maybe it's gonna be said in this chapter because in the webcomic, I think it was just a single page that was going through all this, but all of the new heroes. But in the manga, we're actually coming to like I want to say part one, part two of the new heroes because we don't get introduced to every single one of the new heroes, assuming they're all the same members that we had in the webcomic. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, once one because it shows up, why Gyaza shows up, she kind of tries to like pick on her, be like, "Oh yeah, I saw you previously. I'm sure I'm." But then he starts, hot, hot, hot. As he like put his hand on her shoulder and dress, but then it started burning up. As YB Gyaza is like, she has like this demonic kind of face. How dare you touch me, you stupid! I am annoying. You're destroying my dress or something. Like she's like really pissed off, but then she just conveniently calls up like, "Oh, sorry about that. You see, this dress is fresh off an iron, so it's still a little hot." It stated that that she experimented and enhanced her body to a point that she's not able to fight like a hero because I think it's like I don't think they say that she's like fused her body with that she became like similar to Janos, but she's probably gonna become. But she's probably going to but that's basically what's going on. So she doesn't really feel any heat, although in her instance, it will. I do have to wonder if that's more just her heat that's emerging. She's just blaming it on the dress because, like, one thing we do find out is that she needs to contain a lot of water and all that stuff. Like, especially in the last chapter where she is in the middle of her talking and she like just like shove a a giant like a giant water dispense amount of water into herself. So it does make me wonder that's just her making heat from her body. So yeah, anyways, then Wild Emperor wants like introducing some pieces of fan from music, and then Malbat shows up. He's like, "Oh, why? Because so I'm Malbat. My little sister's a huge fan of you. Can you get you get me an autograph for her?" Because like, that's kind of like Malbat shtick that whenever it comes to like a really popular like idol character in the story, he asks them to get an autograph for his sister. So yeah, he sees this and he's taking his opportunity, being the good big brother he is. And why? Because it's probably gonna do this to give him this. Like I wouldn't be surprised in the next chapter we have like a little off panel or like a little background panel with or background panel where like what because like gives her autograph to Malbat. But second guy's like, can we please go? Can we please do this off hours? This is supposed to be a serious meeting about all of you guys being introduced and all that. You really shouldn't be doing stuff like this. Like, do it after. Like, literally, once we're finished, go do that. And yeah. Anyways, then Super Darkshine is trying to greet her and all that. But then says, well, I may not be here anymore. I'm happy about the opportunity. And while he's saying that, we have the sumo guy up here. He's like, oh, oh, really? So you're not going to be a hero? And I think this guy's also his name is on like Raiden or something, and he's the sumo guy. I don't remember if we saw him in in manga yet, but he's just think about Super Darkshine. I imagine like being sumo kind of wrestler that guy. So he's here, and we'll see what's going to happen with him. Here's what I've been finding things with between Ham and Prisoner in the webcomic, but that's about it. I don't really want to spoil this if we don't know much, but anyways, he's here. So we're gonna get a better explanation of who he is in the next chapter, and after him, I think there are two more members that get introduced, and then we get to some little conflict. Especially also that what's going to be keeping the heroes in check, as well as a few two members who were not above the Neo Heroes, but were like right below Neo Heroes, like the A class of Neo Heroes. But we're gonna have to see how this is all going to unfold and see if there's like some other hero as well. But anyways, that's it for this chapter. And for the new heroes, are a very exciting group of new characters to me, and definitely I can't wait to see what the Murata is gonna be doing with them in the manga. But yeah, anyways, after One Punch Man, we have Chainsaw Man, chapter 167, titled Two Children. This meaning isn't what I was expecting it to mean, but but I'm not honestly shocked by this revelation. So anyways, we start this chapter off with pretty much fan service with Yuru and Asa being in the bathtub as Yuru tries to test out her powers as she's using her powers on a soap to have it bring to her hand, and she transforms it into a soap knife. Soap knife is like this. I'll call this a soap knife, and yours talking about how her powers have been increasing after Chainsaw Man's church and all that's how she's kind of becoming more and more feared. As I was also wonder, what's even the point of taking out Chainsaw Man if your ultimate goal is to become the most feared devil, because you are becoming more feared and everything. Like you're kind of achieving what you desire. So probably also to save the shop boy and relationship issues with Denji is like, well, actually, I don't know if this is okay. The way they talk about it sounds like it's after they rescue Denji, so I'm kind of getting the vibes that this is them talking after something. Kind of thinking this is like after they already know Denji is Chainsaw Man. So she kind of wants to save him in this, from fighting Chainsaw Man, and wants her to like bury the hatch and forget about Chainsaw Man. You've already are getting what you desire. As Yor tells her that there is something else that she needs to get from Chainsaw Man, and the actual reason why she needs to fight Chainsaw Man, and that's because some of her comrades are inside of Chainsaw Man. So she wants them to come out of Chainsaw Man to like puke them out or something like that, referring to the nuclear weapons devil and maybe someone else, because she first uses the word plural as in more people. So, and from what we find on this chapter, I mean, okay, she says comrades, not children, but I do have to wonder on this if she's referring to if this can be like interchangeable. But in this case, but regardless, she mentions that she wants nuclear weapon. That she mentions that she wants her comrades out, and also ask you about like, does she have a way or how does she even plan to do that? And you does say that she has two weapons that can help, but she's conflicted or has an issue using them. But she would use them if she has to, which is gonna be foreshadowing for the end of the chapter. And there's also like a certain level of pride coming from Yura for the reason to still wanting to fight Chainsaw Man, because like he beat her, he humiliated her by taking her power and taking away her comrades, and there's general pride being involved in this instance. So yeah, and then we cut to the present out of this conversation where we have Yura, going to be cut down by Chainsaw Devil, as Euro is like extends her lumps of hands and she tells them, "Come to me, my children," or she says something more along the lines of, "Come to mommy, tank and gun," revealing that the gun devil and the tank devil are actually her children. I don't know how that's supposed to work. I don't know if this is meant to be more like a metaphor for weapons being used in war type of stuff, because for that logic, she has a lot of children. Like, she may as well be called the Mother Devil because she has shit ton of weapons that would be used in war for her. And then, but anyways, we then cut to like around the world. We have like two facilities that can tell in Tank and the Gun Devil as they get burst open immediately. As then we have yours kids being transformed into gauntlets, and she fires them at Chainsaw Man, which damages his stomach and makes him spill out the mouth devil and maybe some other devil, but I'm not entirely certain. I think it's just the mouth devil. And Euro gets and Euro and the rest of humanity gets their mouths back, which considering the deal that the Public Safety Commission wants to make with the aging devil, I don't really think it was a good idea for this to already come out, especially now where Euro seems to actually be able to fight against Chainsaw Man. You know, not many characters really managed to do any kind of damage to Chainsaw Devil, and now you didn't only do damage to him. I want to say that the shots from the gun and the Tank Devil actually were more effective than any damage that he's taken so far, and was easily able to make him spit out the mouth devil, which means that now. You is probably gonna be prioritizing shooting him with a stomach full of lead until she barfs out the nuclear weapons devil and who knows how many other devils he has or who else she was referring to. It'll be a big family reunion if you ask me. It's gonna find out the war devil is the one that seems to be the only one that with children. I wonder if there's some kind of symbolic reason why the war devil is the one with children instead of the other three, but whatever. The mouth is out. The contract can happen. I'm assuming, unless if the aging devil got too scared of Chainsaw Devil, he's gonna continue his contract. So children are about to start dying, while family is probably going back to stuffing her mouth filled with food because she finally has her mouth back. So yeah, we'll have War Devil with her children going up against the Chainsaw Devil. Honestly, I was expecting that the Euro was gonna be a mother at the end of the story, but I was thinking it was gonna be like those like weird birthing things where she gives birth to nuclear weapons devil and something else. But I guess being revealed that she's the mother of Gun and Tank Devil is its own level of logic behind it. It makes me kind of wonder it does make me kind of wonder how powerful the Tank Devil would be. I mean, Gun Devil is really built up to be a very hype being, but like I don't think many people are like that scared of a tank in like same sense as they're scared of the Gun Devil. So I'm guessing the Gun Devil is maybe gonna have like better fire or like more shots and quicker, while Tank Devil is gonna have more of a power behind it. I don't know, but it's gonna be a very interesting fight. So yeah, anyways, after Chainsaw Man, we go to a slice of life series with Ruri Dragon, chapter 20, titled "That Isn't Very Nice." Yeah, that's one way to put it. So yeah, anyways, we start this chapter off with revealing that Ruri did actually hear what those two girls were talking about, and her just being completely honest, just being like, "They said bad things about me. They called me freaky." So friends try to comfort her and they're like, and they ask her what's wrong, why is so out of it, why does it look like your soul left your body? And she explains to them about the girls and what they told behind her back. As the other girls tell her that it's not that hard to imagine why they would do that. They don't know who you are, so you now have horns and you do look very weird amongst us. So obviously they're gonna call you weird or creepy and just generally insult you regardless of you can't help your physical appearance in any sense. With how things are, like you cannot do anything about it. That's best to just ignore and avoid them, since you're not really gonna be doing anything in that instance. And yeah, they just give me some advice as then Ruri gonna just goes she has some other club activities to do, as we have the two helpers, the two who are supposed to be assistants and all that, coming to her and checking to see if she's doing fine, if everything, and the guy who has like a sore throat even tells her that uh, my throat is feeling bad, so I could replace you if you ever feel the need to, because like you literally pass out from toxic, from acid in your stomach. So yeah, they do kind of want to help and feel bad for Yuri because of everything that's happening. But it's kind of funny how this shy girl's kind of screaming about Yuri and all that stuff. So it's kind of funny. But well, anyways, Yuri does understand, does try to just say that it's fine. She's doing good, and she'll continue everything normal. As then they have to go to the club activity room, as the club president informs. I think it's actually vice president. There's a little bit more energy from it, as she tells them the day has finally come for them to paint the signboard for everyone and all that stuff. So yeah, get ready and get excited. As then Ruri, Maido, and the two girls that were shit talking Ruri in the last chapter are all working on signboard, because despite you not shouldn't be interacting, despite you not wanting to talk with them or anything like that, you'll always be stuck with the people who torment you the most for some ungodly reason. You know, it really kind of loses its idea, the whole just ignore or avoid people when you're literally being stuffed and forced to be with them. So it's kind of a weird. So it's always kind of a weird thing where it's stuff like this. It's always like kind of weird in school when you think about like you're supposed to avoid these people, but why is it you're always stuck with these people every time you have to go somewhere? It's just so fucking weird when you really break it down. But whatever, we'll get into that. That's a different complaint to have, because we have the characters just kind of doing it, as then the two girls being kind of. Why in the last chapter they were kind of like whispering behind Rory's back. And this one they are more direct about finding Rory creepy and saying, "Hey, careful for those horns so I don't poke an eye out," or something. As Rory has like the bandage, which I think is just there to make sure that she doesn't accidentally like pop something. Like that's I think literally the reason why she has them covered. And yeah. So yeah, we just apologize to them because she doesn't really want now to interact with them. Like her reaction to being shit talk was literally just having her soul leave her body. So it's not that surprising that she would not know how to react to them. As she then just apologizes. I'm sorry. And then she gets told that she should go sit in the corner so no one of us is gonna be in danger and all that. And then Maida appears up and shit talks those two for being, trashy and to go away, because if you do have such a big problem, then you need to leave. We can work easily. And Maida even tells Rory that Rory is doing what she can to keep herself from hurting you all. At this point, it's mostly your fault if you end up hurting yourselves on her horns. And yeah, the two of them get kind of insulted by the fact that Maida called them out for being trashy, so they just go away to the bathroom and all that. As then Rui thanks Maida, we have Rui and Maida talking about, and Maida explains about how this how the system works, this how school life that works, because you know. You are the weird one. You're kind of easy target to make fun of and insult. You're also very meek and all that stuff. So yeah, as then Rui said, it's kind of funny that she's the one that's helping her, since Maya also was kind of like when she was insulting, when they were having their talk. Maya was also kind of insulting, calling her insulting her appearance and all that type of stuff. So my so it's kind of ironic that Maida's here standing up for her, but it's a good way to show that Maida and Rui are kind of growing closer and closer with one another. The fact that Maida's here standing up to her, and then Rui does also that she doesn't know how she should really react in this instance. And Maida, why don't you just get into their faces like you got with me? And Rui would just be too embarrassed about it. Plus, I think she was a bit embarrassed when you look at it from a retrospective viewpoint. So yeah. Anyways, Maya then comes up with a plan to get her revenge on to get a revenge on those two girls, and she's like, "Oh, would you mind helping with something?" And so was like, "Sure." But she's probably unnerved, and probably because from what we've seen about this revenge, it seems the revenge is like one of those things where it's like making those two the evil bitches kind of problems too, because like we don't get an explanation of the rule of the revenge, but basically, uh, okay, so I'll start with from where we cut from the story. So we cut from Maida saying that they will get revenge by cutting to the two girls in the bathroom as they're doing some generic girl talk. I think it's just like one of those things where it's like no one really gives a shit about. It's kind of like how in 100 Girlfriends when Kurumi and Momiji were in the line, you had just some random conversation between two women to demonstrate that they'll fall unconscious if they talk too much to prevent them from communicate with each other. So Ruri so those two have that kind of conversation as they're approaching back to the classroom, and as they come to the classroom, they hear about a bit of commotion because Maida is trying to pull Ruri's horns off as some of the students are like staring there and be like, "Oh wow, this is exciting." I'm not certain this is like the other students getting aware of what they are doing, or if this is just them being kind of douchey. If I'm being totally honest with you, so they do not know what's going on because, like, we see that Maida is using clippers to like those big, those like big. I'm not sure what they're called, like those giant things that in construction just to like pull out some screws that are not too stuck in there to stuck in there, or like if they are broken or twisted or something. Like those things to like pull Rui's horns off, and she's like pulling and pulling to break it off as some of the students say, "Oh, Mara just starts screaming about oh, I'll rip those horns off you," and then she grabs and then she starts pulling the horns, like pull those horns and all that type of stuff. As Rui as Mara is doing that, and then she does actually break one of the horns and yeah, all right. And it's the other one is then we start getting a little bit of a flashback about like let's get the revenge by well actually don't say how they're gonna get the revenge, but basically like tell me, do you think those horns of yours can be broken? Which I don't really know if it's a smart idea to break her horns, especially when her abilities are still, being active. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of self-defense mechanism in place to in case if her horns get broken. Although maybe it's gonna reveal that she has some kind of regenerative capability as well, or something. I don't really know how. I don't really know how much inspired from Japanese mythology Rui's abilities are gonna be, or those seven traits are gonna be. But regardless, Maya succeeds in breaking one of the horns, and she'll be going to break another horn. And I'm assuming what they're gonna do is like they're gonna break Rui's horns, and then they're gonna be like, "Here, you two, are you two happy now? Rui does his horns are now so tiny that you couldn't even stab yourself in the eye if you tried. So now Rui doesn't have horns. She's also bleeding from the head because we broke a piece of her skull, and there's probably gonna be problems there. But whatever, we've succeeded in breaking her horns. Happy? And then they got Jesus Christ, two were have so much of an issue with Rui's horns that we needed to have them broken for you to be safe, and making those two kind of making those two the target of harassment and bullying now because of being how trash they are. I imagine they'll also be getting in trouble over like I mean, the fact that again, like, I don't really know how this revenge is going, but by the looks of things, it seems like the plan is basically to make them the bad guys who caused a girl to have her skull, well, let's be honest, her skull broken because of the horns that she has on top of her head. But regardless, we don't get a full explanation of revenge exactly, but we'll get that in the next chapter, so we'll see how the things are gonna go. So yeah, that's the end of the chapter, and now we go to That Rock chapter 15 titled Ghost. Ironically enough, it's not going in the direction that you'd think it would. So yeah, anyways, we start this chapter off with us kind of just getting a recap of the rules in this Datland theme of this Datland field day. the basics like, oh, all the students that compete with one another. You can either beat your opponent or kill your opponent. Students are 1 point. Teachers are 5 points. The class with the most amount of points gets a conversation with God, and all that, and all that type of, and all that stuff. As then we also get see like I guess Choco was it not? It wasn't happy. Happy. It was something else. The Golem and Freya apparently were all together as they beat two opponents. So they're like, oh, 4 more points. So I guess we I guess two defeated opponents before, and now we have even more. And I'm assuming there's like one more opponent or 3 more points are gonna come later, because Ryzen is currently fighting three students. But regardless, Les they're talking about this, and they're like, as far as like very excited, very happy about this fight, while the other one is like, the Golem's like, oh, are you stupid? We're killing each other. So yeah, as then we cut to Yakuto, and he's kind of like analyzing the situation. He's like, all right, so we are a very tiny class, so we are in a disadvantage because it's very easy to surround, find one of us and corner us. So we'll be in. So we are starting off on the back foot, but luckily because we are a small class, it means we have a lot more targets. So we have a bunch of other grades to hunt and beat and to get a lot of points. So we'll be an advantage. Basically, the second part of his strategy now, where he can just kind of group up with the rest and be basically an unbeatable force. I mean, they already defeated the entire class, so they have a very good chance of being pretty much everyone in this school, especially since one of the ones that was actually threatening to them is, let's just say, very interesting. In fact, speaking of him, he actually shows up now as is like, oh, so you're the famous first year killed your homeroom teacher, chef, an entire classroom, and the other day killed the vice principal, huh? As Yakuto meets him, and he explains that he's Aries, the third year, who's gonna be graduating next year, and all that stuff. As Yakuto says, hello, but Yakuto's very unnerved about him because he sounds like there's something very off about his power, and he's like a very oddly powerful individual from to Yakuto's perspective. So Yakuza kind of nerfed by him, but Ares doesn't really well. Ares then uses his magic where forces Yakuto's fist to come towards him and punches Ares in the face as Yakuto goes, oh sorry, I didn't mean to punch you or anything, because like the way Ares showed up and started talking makes it sound like he wasn't really gonna comment into a battle, but now that Yakuto punch, he was like, oh shit, oh shit, shit. If this could be any kind of, because Ares was one of the people who's actually, really up there in terms of threat level, so him finding like the strongest from the get-go could affect their chances if he's like, too wounded to help in the rest of the fighting. But he just punches him as Ares gets knocked on the floor, and he tells him, oh, don't worry about that, that was me. Good punch, good punch. Anyways, I'm leaving the position from Cougar to you. And he just falls unconscious, or at least he gets beaten enough to a point that Yakuto can get a point. As Yakuto's a bit confused about Ares' hair, because he kind of thought that they were gonna fight or something, but then Ares explains that he's just used his magic to knock him out, so he's kind of confused on what's going on. I'm kind of getting the vibe that Ares is gonna be a character who's gonna be real, that his power or whatever he does attempt to kind of bypass a lot of the conflict, not start trouble or not be on the receiving end of a lot of conflicts or something, even though he's the leader of the delinquent squad. So we have to wait and see what he's gonna he's planning to do. But regardless, Yakuto's a bit confused about Ares. Then we got to Ryzen, who is currently fighting, I think, 3 students. We're like, wait a minute, isn't this guy supposed to have been killed by the chef? Why is he alive and all that? As Ryzen tells them that there's a monster in his class, referring to Mikoto, which is, I guess, supposed to hype her up. makes you kind of wonder if his connection with Mikoto being, her, well, her pet servant kind of character is actually made him privy to a lot more information about her and kind of more of a better understanding about how powerful she is. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Ryzen reveals in the next chapter or pretty soon that he actually sensed that like she was kind of holding back in her fights up till now. Because from what we find out, she may be a lot more powerful than we originally thought. So yeah, anyways, then we finally cut to Mikoto versus Boltagear, the Kraken of the four teachers, as he first attacks her to send her back into the ocean, and then well, first Mikoto summons some for skeletons to strike at him. Mikoto Boltagear then sends water to like destroy them and send her to the ocean, so he'll have the advantage. And then he like strikes at her a lot of times, completely ruining her clothing to a point of fan service levels, ruined skirt. Basically, he just bra at this point, as he's like, "Oh, you're very powerful. You'll be very good for the slave traders when I sell you to them." As then Mikoto uses her necromancer power to like summon some of the well, she first summons a bunch of like piranha bones to attack him, but Voltigo just destroys them. But then like a bunch of skeletons to strike at him, but then I guess she uses the skeletons more as a distraction for Boltago until she sends another punch to send Boltago in the air from the hit and throws him to the ground to be on land, and Mikoto comes from the land to be able to fight him. As then Boltago is like, your class defeated vice principal, huh? Well, guess what? I guess that kind of gave you a bit of an arrogance boost because there's no way in a one-on-one battle between a demon 4 teacher and a student will end with a demon school teacher. You're like, yeah, you could have teamed up and beat one of us, but one-on-one, we have the better, we'll win. As and yeah, then we have Mikoto kind of naming the crimes of the Demon 4 teacher, saying that then Boltigo's crime is that he was using these field days and these conflicts to like make it look like that he killed his students, but in reality he captured his students and gave them to slave traders and sold them to slave traders. I don't know if that's supposed to be human slave traders or something else, but I don't remember them saying human traffickers or slave trade, just normal slave traders. But some people said it was human. I honestly should double check to see what was there, but because he just sells them, which is something that he does, which is true since he would send Soul Mikoto to a slave trader, so that's what he does. And then she went to Brian, and she tells them that guy had a very short temper, or was a very murderous teacher because he basically just killed every student that by whatever thing that they annoyed them very quickly and very indiscriminately, just like, oh, you are singing to yourself, you're that. Oh, you are you're sleeping in the courtyard, you're that. So that's his, and then she also mentions the guy, the weird Coliseum guy. She mentions that his crimes were he takes students, transforms them into his like he transforms them in those like weird creatures that are not dead but they're also not alive, and use them as his possessions. And then she mentions that while she doesn't know anything about Lilith, she's pretty confident that if she investigated Lilith, she will be able to find some kind of dirty crime on her. Not certain that's supposed to be taken as in, she does the worst crime imaginable, but it's gonna be kept hidden for now for a later reveal, or if that's supposed to or that's supposed to make not the worst one of the four, because like usually when it comes to groups like or they're kind of like the elemental four when you really break it down. They're usually like always like wonder joints. At least that's like the common trope that the Mashima kind of likes. He had the elemental four, Juvia join. Then he had the elemental four from Eden Zero have Sylphs join. He also then had Laguna join, so I would not be surprised if he would do the same thing with Lilith, but we don't really know. Like, it's kind of difficult to say about Lilith because she is directly inspired by something because her name is literally Lilith and she's a succubus. So it's kind of like she's either gonna be like a very big she's either going to be a very important character or just kind of like just another boss to defeat. So it's kind of difficult to say. Like, she doesn't manage, she assaults her students, which is very likely, but so far she doesn't really like, Lilith is weird because we do have some interaction, some personality traits, but throughout the whole thing, she hasn't really, like, expressed anything. Like, you can say, oh, that little, like, thing about having Yakuto being butt-ass naked while she is kind of messing with his private part, which is like something sticking and slamming her fingers. Like, oh, did she? But that's like, is that just how her powers work? Because you kind of can be arrested. Because I really don't. I question the logic of arresting someone because of powers just takes away their abilities in such a weird way. But whatever. Maybe she's gonna be revealed that she works for Boltigo. I could already see Boltigo like trying to weasel his way out of being executed by saying, "Oh, I'll tell what Lila does, what her crime is." But I don't really know. We have to wait and see on what they're gonna reveal with Lilith. But it is noteworthy that Lilith is meant to not have committed a crime yet. Although to be fair, maybe it's just because Mikoto has been informed of everything yet. But because she mentions them, as then Mikoto reveals that she's a member of the Secret Service police called Ghost, which gives Boltagri kind of like a reversed Enel face, where like a bear, like a giant face with his mouth jaw wide open and his eyes coming out. Boltagri actually has like a more of a shriveled up face where he's like, "Oh shit! I got discovered." With his mouth being kind of tiny, oh shit, I like want to squeeze in it. So he's aware of Ghost, and Ares is also aware of Ghost because we cut back to him and he says, "Oh, Ghost infiltrated the school, huh? I see." So I guess he figured out that Mikoto was a part of Ghost. I don't know, maybe he has like a way to communicate with everyone or something, but anyways, he mentions that to Yakuto, and Yakuto's probably gonna ask him, and we're probably gonna get an explanation what Ghost is. Because, like, that rock is kind of a weird series when it comes to having, like, revealing that there's a secret police agency, since, I mean, this is how where the students in the school are sent to go conquer the human world or become rulers in the human world, and just in general, this isn't really the place you would think there would be that many, like, there'll be that many laws against, like, oh, you cannot murder students left and right, especially since it's pretty public knowledge that rock allows you to kill anyone. Like, you can kill a teacher, you can kill a chef, you can kill a lot of people. It's more like, alright, if you kill an entire class, we should probably do something, but outside of that, it's pretty much fine. You can pretty much do whatever you want. So it's kind of a weird place to introduce something that's supposed to be some kind of secret police agency. But regardless, that's what Mikoto's a part of. Boltigo knows, and he's actually starting to seem to get a bit worried, a bit like, oh shit. So we're going to have to see what. We're going to have to wait until next month to find out what exactly the details about Ghost and what kind of relationship they have with everything and what kind of role they have in the demon world. But whatever, that's the end of this chapter, and yeah, this is having more of a setup chapter for the future of that Rocks series. So, anyways, now on to the penultimate series, being Reincarnated Coliseum, chapter 22, titled The Fight of the Truly Powerful. Ironically, Phil, Fine, and Allison here, but whatever. So anyways, we start this chapter with Maul's backstory, with her being like a 5-year-old little girl, talking with her father who's chewing her out because she dislocated one of the classmates, one of his students' shoulder during a fight because Mal explains that in a very like cute child shape, that she's like, hey, we were not allowed to use our buffs, and without our buffs, I'm in a major disadvantage. So obviously, I would have to go for his joints. I can't just allow him, otherwise, I would just lose to him. Probably like referring to the fact that males and females are generally stronger. So in order for Mal to win is that she uses her overwhelming advantage when it comes to her buffs to overwhelm, beat her opponent, and then but in that instance, she doesn't have that buff. She has to go for a man's weak spots to be able to beat them. So yeah, Maul says that, and he's like, "Oh my god." And then she also tells him, "Also, that you're probably the strongest. Why you have to understand the problem when it comes to not using buffs?" As her father's like, "No, I'm not the strongest," and that is because the one who's actually the strongest is the Alexandra Bry, which is kind of hyping him more up. And this is like a lot of hyping up because like it's been like at the age of 16 he joined the army. At age 20 or was it 30 or something he won the most amount of victories. He joined the army at 60, and then at age 20 or 30 or something or 25 he became he achieved some of the greatest victories, and then of age 30 he became a general in the military. So it's very much just hype up this Alexandra Brine individual to like explain to us more why uh, people were so oh shit when they saw him, and why everyone was like oh fuck no, of all the people this guy, oh my god, this should have announced that way sooner than right now, and all panicking because Alexandra Brine has a very good reputation of being the strongest individual in the world. So yeah, so yeah, as then we cut to the present with them finding, as we actually have a bit of a transition because when her father tells her who the actually strongest man is, she it like transitions to the current present where he clashes with Merle, and he's sending her to the back with her string, and she then walks on the barrier to get to the top, and then strikes down to punch him from the top. He then counters, so he should probably have dodged, or even acknowledge that he should probably be able to dodge this. But anyways, wants to beat her in strength, so they clash and they have a bit of like stance. As then Alexander during this fight kind of starts analyzing the battle situation, being like, all right, I am faster and stronger than her. I have my buffs are better than her, but she's able to do a pretty good, come up with very good strategy and very good counters for me. You know, be like able to take advantage of the environment to strike at him, as well as like she's able to keep up with him. Like it's like one of those things where it's like Mira is like a very good on the fly increasing fighter, where she's able to while she's in a disadvantage, she's able to like keep up and able to counter things. So he's not in a pure ability matchup. He's like superior than her, but it's not exactly like he could. He's not exactly in that much of an advantage to a point that he's confident he could beat her. It's very much like if this fight becomes too prolonged, she could very likely beat me. So I probably should be careful. So I probably should be so I probably should utilize some other ways to beat her. As he then halfway decides to, so he halfway decides to stop striking, and then as Mel's like, wait, what are you doing? As then Alexander says, you, if we continue this fight, you're going to die. You're strong, but you're obviously weaker than me. So if we continue, I will probably kill you by accident. I would not want to kill my new wife, as that shocks the audience. They're like, wait, new wife, don't you have a? Isn't you? Aren't you already married? As Alexander tells her, that's right. I'm planning to have you be one of my mistresses. So, and Mikami as well. I will make sure that Mikami comes with me as well. So we will make an ultimate military combat unit. You and I will be fighting on the front lines side by side, being the ultimate power couple, while Mikami is in behind the scenes, coming up with perfect strategies to beat our opponents completely. This is so. This is a perfect. This is an ultimate combat military unit. As he then also tells her, "Don't worry. While you will be while you will be one of my mistresses, you will be allowed to marry Mikami as well. You will get all the privileges. You want to do whatever you want with him. Everything's fine with me. I don't really give a shit. Just I want you to be in the military and all that." And he's very much playing mind games with this, trying to like make a deal that will kind of. He's either going to basically what she's going to either give up halfway, which he doubts is going to happen, or she's going to go into a more unstable and more you know making herself more open for weaknesses, exposing herself to danger zones. Danger zones, since she's not really like the just a really he's very much on the fly combat and not really much of a logistic. Why would he be saying this? Why would he be declaring that right now in the middle of the battlefield instead of like the beginning? Or why would he first go for a strike and now declaring this instead of like tying this deal beforehand? But because Mel isn't very much, is more focused on the aspect of him saying that he's stronger than her, and she's very pissed off because she mentions that her father and brother are the same, where they think they're stronger than her. Although it's kind of funny because that's not the vibe I get from her father. But well, maybe it's gonna be explained better what she exactly means by that. Like maybe it's more like the father was. Like maybe the father was already immediately like dismissive about like who is the stronger. Like if one appeared stronger, he was like, all right, you're stronger, so that's it. You shouldn't be fighting. You're not equals in strength, or anything like that, But he was like completely ignoring the possibility of someone growing in strength during the battlefield. Like he was completely dismissive to that fact. Also, note the fact that Mel has a brother. So, is he going to appear? Is he gonna be a captain of the story? We have to wait and see for that to see if that's the case later on, but whatever, maybe he's gonna appear in one of the next fights or something like that. We don't really know, but anyways, he is present. I can honestly totally see this fight already. Like, I could see, like, either against Fine or someone, he shows up and he's like, alright, you are gonna marry my sister. I wanna see you. I'm gonna be fighting you. You're not going up against. No, you're not going up against the assistants. You and me are fight. You and me are the main gladiator, so we'll be fighting you mainly. So you and I are fighting mainly, not the lowly spatial mage bitch, not the 1,000 ability ones. You and I, mano y mano. So I could also see this kind of story coming up later, but we'll have to wait and see if that's the case in our future battle. But anyways, it doesn't really matter because what matters now is that Mila is very pissed off at Alexandra. She's gonna, go into reckless rage mode, so she wants to go into a fight. And then the giant is like, oh, Alexandra was never really the best when it came to acting. But it doesn't really matter because Mila is now very pissed off in her rage mode, so she'll be more focused on just beating him with pure brute strength, not trying to out-combat him, which is what her biggest danger is in this instance. So, whatever, his mind game worked, even if his little deception play about the future is a complete failure. But anyways, after this reveal, we cut to Mikami and Chris, which is even fun because it's like a little four-wall bacon joke because the dark announcer is like, alright, let's see what Mikami and Chris are now doing, the healers of the group. As then we have okay, we started with off, but after I guess Mikami realized in what bad situation the two of them are, he apparently just walked to Chris and went down and started looking at Chris's ass. And I was kind of pissed off the fact that he's looking at her and Chris is behind, as Chris is like, stop looking. It's like I'm trying to get the make it little stand out. Oh, hate you, die. And she's very kind of pissed off at that, but and then some of the fans, oh my god, this guy's always so fun. As then Mikami is like hits the barrier, then she immediately shakes and he's like, oh shit. As then Mikami starts to like walk around her and just hits the barrier around her every time while he's circling her, and says, I first thought it was just my imagination, but looking at this closer, every time I hit above the barrier, it actually gets a lot stronger than it usually is. So basically, like, if the barrier is usually a 5, every time he hits it, that one area becomes a 10. So he's like, I see. So this girl So while he's also analyzing Chris's ability, he goes back to his little training with Fine as he's asking her, "Oh my God, how am I going to develop new skills based on how you explain?" As in, Fine or tells her just to give or explain to me again how I'm gonna get more skills. And Fine just said, "You have to be like this, whoosh, and you have to be like that, whoosh, and woof, woof." As then Mikami's like, "I don't understand what you mean." As then Fine explains to him that it's not as much in a sense of mind as much as just kind of an instinct. Like people who have skills will, or like it's more of a. It's kind of a weird thing. This chapter has like a lot of weird translations, and even in Japanese, which I think it's like kind of weird when it comes to its with how things are explained. But basically, people's skills, while there is some genetic aspect of it, like people with like buffs are, I imagine, more of genetic things, but there are also people that can just develop skills based on their mindsets and their knowledge of things. So someone with a copy skill like Mikami would have a very hard time developing new skills because you already copy skills to begin with. So you developing new is difficult for you. But yeah, but you should be able to develop a skill with a more accurate mindset. She also explains that people who use their skills a lot more or are in danger of dying do actually get their skills increase and more get their skills stronger and stronger quicker or become higher levels. So like Miles' skill, who was constantly like in a fight and constantly in danger of like losing a battle that didn't when Kent wasn't in buff, would have a stronger skill. Fine also points out Alice in it. Oh, Alice's head also appears in this as she's talking, so I'm kind of curious if Alice has a bit more of a tragic backstory, a bit more of a reason behind her misinjury than just your standard thing, but we don't really know yet, so maybe that's the reason why her spatial skill is such an OP busted ass skill, but we have to wait and see exactly on that. Like, we don't really know it. I was like, we know. Okay, I don't think we have Mary's backstory explained either. At least I don't think it was ever explained with her, but she's the main girl. She'll probably have explained at some point, but regardless, like, Alice doesn't really have any kind of history, and we got the history on Merle, so we have to wait and see if that's going to be mentioned with Alice's fight, which is probably going to be in the next fight, but whatever, we're gonna have. She says that you have to be put in your mindset, and it's all about like their mind and that type of stuff. And then Mikami again looks at Chris, and he realizes that based on her body stance, the way how her shield increases, her reactions to these little tests, it's very clear this woman isn't a fighter. She's barely fought in her life. She's pretty much a scaredy cat. Like, it's one of those things where he explains that this girl is not powerful because she's trained her barrier. This girl is powerful because she's so scared of everything that she made the barrier almost basically impenetrable. So he's not very. So he pretty much views her like a little scaredy cat. So he basically just calls her a scaredy cat, which is something we could probably guess based on the last chapter. But in this one, it's even clearer that she's just kind of terrified of the whole thing, and she's like, oh, oh. So he has to think, all right, if I want her to beat her, I have to make her mindset more relaxed, more. It's like she's more willingly coming out. So he can deal with her. And it's kind of like the representation like her being in a cave and having a stone covering it, but she has to like so he was gonna have to make her to slowly be able to like remove the stone a bit, and that's basically what he has to do. So he's kind of coming up with strategies, also going through the equipment that he brought alongside him in this fight to deal with her, and he comes to a conclusion that the best way to get her out is with slapstick comedy. Literally his words. He plans to comic her way out of this. None of this means that he's gonna go pull a clown show here, or if that's going to like what he's gonna be doing is gonna be like something that's going to make her wanna come out of it, or like forcing her way out, or like maybe he's gonna. I'm not entirely certain what the plan is. Maybe he's gonna try to suffocate her, or something like out. But it's unclear right now. He just seems to be playing out, making sure that she leaves, and the main plot seems to be like it's gonna involve slapstick comedy. So either he's gonna be acting like a fool for a chapter to make her fall on her butt laughing, or he's just going to uh, get her out by somehow getting like something that will make force her out to out of the bubble, how they do usually doing comedy shows. So we have to wait and see on what he's gonna be pulling off. So that's kind of thing. Get her out by making her either he's gonna make her laugh to putting her guard down, or he's going to make her end up in some kind of slapstick situation where she's gonna want to get out of the cave on her own. So we're going to have to see how he's gonna work on that. I also kind of wonder what exactly is the story behind Chris, because she's like not really the focus, and it's not like there's a lot of explanation on it. It's really literally just some kind of non that's has to compete in tournaments, in duo tournaments because of to fund an orphanage or something. I don't really know, but we're gonna have to wait a few more chapters before we get this explanation. So yeah. Anyways, with that out of the way, it's time that we talk about the final series of the week, where Time Stop Hero Chapter 50, titled Teleport and Stop. Well, there's like one teleportation at the beginning of the chapter, but whatever. Some chapters are gonna be less logical than the others. But yeah, anyways, we start this chapter off by going to the explanation of what exactly happened to Kuzuno and Brave and all that. Well, Kuzuno, Brave and all that. Why he's not there, and so we gotta get like a good idea. Not that this is supposed to be Tomitri's explaining to everyone about how this situation come about or what, but regardless, they explain to them. We get an explanation on what's going on. As we have, which okay, man, it's kind of funny how I started this video by talking about a character who's it's unclear about how much of the backstory she knows and how much we got with the final chapter being another one where it's like, how much are we getting from this and how much of the main characters getting from this? But unless we have Tomatrix, which is the Ice Witch, and Zuno flying in one direction, and then he's like, and then they stop at a random place, and he's like, "Oh, why are we stopping? Are we already there or something?" And she explains to him that even with all of her power and everything, it would take them a whole week before they would be able to get to the Leaks HQ. So they're just gonna be using a teleportation spell or a portal spell to get there. She creates a little orb and she throws it into the air to create the portal, and they go into that portal and get to the witch's HQ location. Which he then is like, wow, so this is the portal and this is the HQ, I see. So he's kind of and so Tumich is kind of explaining that the witches are not really that engaged with the rest of the world, and they're kind of trying to keep things a secret, and they really shouldn't be revealing these portals and all that to the outsiders so they could get information. And then we get to kind of like a bit of an explanation on Lovisa, the MILF mommy from from the second kingdom they entered. Because, this kind of raises the question, why didn't she use the portal? But the guy now thinks that, oh wait, no, that was probably the spell she was going to use before he came up and saved her. Because, we see that the two portals that Louisa and Tomichis were making look the same. So I guess the plan for Louisa was, portal, come on, Sarah, let's go into the Wizarding HQ. You're a child, so it should be fine. And yeah, there's also explanation that the fact that there's mistrust between mankind and the witches, so they kind of want to be kept secret on all that stuff. He also comes across Lovisa because she's actually already there, because remember, this is like I think it was like 100 years or a bit. It's quite a few years since before the actual story starts. So he sees Lovisa there. So obviously she would still kind of be there because she like I imagine that she was only like stationary there for primarily due to more of a her being because the prince was very young, while right now the royalty in his family, well, the royalty in his family was probably more active. So now so now she probably doesn't have to go inside this because she does have to know that she was keeping beforehand. I imagine it was more of a, she was coming and going, but now she kind of needed to stay there 24/7. So yeah. Anyways, after that, we have Luis. So yeah, after he actually does see Louisa in the mage. That's I think a part of the princesses from a different kingdoms uh, night group. I don't think we got her name actually. It's one of the witch. It's one of those. It's one of them, and she's like communicating with her. So I guess the two of them have always been in more with the outside world than this actual story. I'm guessing that's the reason why we discovered them outside. It's one thing also is that because also knows the fact that she already had those notes that she had hidden inside of her. Like he checks her boobs because right now she's in the which is HQ, and he looks at them and she sees the little note. As then so yeah. Anyways, they finally come to the main. I guess the main chamber for chamber for the Queen of Witches, whose name is Vardona Wizardonia, who is supposed to be a president, but with that kind of name, I'm starting to think that it might be more of a royalty title. I mean, just saying, Vardonia Wizardonia. That kind of sounds like a more you were designed to be the queen of the witches. Don't deceive us. And anyways, Verdonia is actually all right. So Verdonia is a giant milf. I know every woman in this. I know most captains in this series are milfs, but when I say milf, I mean like even by giant milf standards, this woman is giant, and is more like like more of a and very elegant beauty, giant black hat, a black dress, and all that stuff as she's there. And we also get Tartorias. Was Tartorias, right? Tomitrius announcing herself, giving her full name, which is I think the first time we actually got these three witches' full name. I don't think three of them have ever given their full names, but I guess the other five decided to reveal their full names. Or at least Tomitrius he decided to reveal as she's introducing herself, and this is the man that was going to do and bring this magic stone and all that. And the one that has to be a plot for all of his work. As then fireworks finally start activating, which is like, oh yeah, finally, the game that he finally cleared the level after. I don't want to say it was 20 chapters, but I feel like it's been probably a almost 20 chapters or around that number. I think it was like 10 chapters at least. So he finally clears it. And then he's like, "Oh, thank God I cleared it." Like it was literally seconds. Like we even get like a little clock showing that he's like 5 seconds until completion. Like he was really coming out on this time. It was like literally last couple of seconds. So he's there. And he's like, "Oh, thank God, thank God." And then he looks at the new time and he sees that it's actually 5 days. So he's like, "Wait, what?" And he time stops. Everything is like panic, having a bit of a panic. It's like, "What? 3 days? Are you kidding me? I only have 3 days now? Are you insane? How am I supposed to complete this in 3 days? I was supposed to have 100 days or however long." I think he calculated how long he has to have until the next adventure or his next deal. But I guess I think he was calculating based on when he first appeared in this world to that adventure. But now he has something completely third, which is this adventure with the plot progression adventure basically, as he has like a big kind of panic attack, being like, I'm gonna need to stop myself silly with all these beautiful women. He just stuffs himself all over the place, and then he tries to calm down, be like, okay, maybe, but he probably realizes subconsciously that he's like, okay, wait, maybe there's some other advantage that I have to deal with. After all, I can't exactly meet up. I and the previous me can't exactly be in the same place at the same time, so it probably makes more sense that we just have like, we not at some kind of point, or we deal with the fact that there's like not a paradox, like two of the same beings. I mean, we already have the eye switch, and we don't need two me's kind of deal. Although two me's means we'll have able to have double the fun. But anyways, after he cancels the stop time thing, Vardonia is like, "Oh, did you just use time stop?" As because I was like, no, I totally not just use time stop to sexuous on all of you ladies. Totally not. Nope, 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 nope. As then Vardonia states that I am the only one that's allowed to use time stop magic, and you are not. Time stop, and she stops time on Kuzona, trapping him in a sort of perpetual, stopping him in this like frozen time stop state. Just him, no one else. Well, Kuzona, so yeah, he's like, oh shit, and as you can notice is that there's like a very big difference in terms of her time stop magic and Kuzono's time stop, where he can only time stop select on everything except for himself. Her ability is able to select who she time stops, so she only time stopped him because she needs to punish him for having the ability to time stop. And yeah, so that's kind of a difference. As then Tomatris wants to reason with her, but then Donna's like, I mean, like, oh, are you being our enemy? Are you attacking me? Are you standing against us? Do you not forget what the mankind has done to us? Or the legacy of the oppression that we have been receiving from mankind? So are you gonna side with them or us? As even some of the witches seem to like prepare to fight Tomatris, but Tomatris is like, oh no, 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 I'm not gonna fight you guys. I am just, expressing my immediate reaction. When it comes down to it, I will side with you. Obviously, I'm not gonna start a conflict. I will bow my hat. I'll bow my hat. As Tomatris just obeys, and Rodon's like, alright, good, we are all on the same page. As Kuzono is just being put in the dungeons, where Tomatris apologizes for him for not being able to help him, but she does say that she will fulfill her promise, that she will freeze him in the present, in the current timeline of the story, like she did in the first chapter. Because like in the first time we see them, we have them being antagonistic towards him and freezing him, and she has freezes him over. But in this one, but now she knows about this, because the one that's I think ran from a different timeline was the one that's stuck there, while the one that's from the current timeline. Wait, was she the one from the future time? Well, there are two. One of them, this one should be aware of what's going on, so she should be able to recognize him and all that. But but she still throws time like she normally does. So it's basically explained that she knew everything, but she does decide to play along. She throws him over, so he'll do his whole shtick from the beginning, which I just imagine her reaction when she, after the time stop, she got her spanking him. Which I don't think we actually saw the reaction about the three witches after they got their asses spanked. I mean, we saw them like, I think there was fan art on Manga decks for Time Stop Hero, with them like how they react immediately after having all those spanks hit them like a truck. But I don't think we've seen them in the actual story what the immediate reaction and the follow up from that was. So it does make kind of wonder what she was thinking after the spanking hit her like a truck. But anyways, she obeys his request and just leaves him in there because she can't really do anything. She probably just was like, "Can I say goodbye to him for the final time, just for the sake of because I'm grateful for the magic stone kind of thing? Sure, you can say goodbye to him." And she says that to him, and then she just leaves. Which I could just imagine what kind of funny reaction it's gonna be when he's to reunite at some point in the story. I can already imagine there being some kind of punishment, some kind of nice punishment with them. actually seen any of these 3 witches being tied up yet. Kind of disappointing, honestly. But anyways, hopefully for the future. But anyways, then we have a year. Then a year passed, which is actually more of a current time of the story. Which actually no, I was mistaken. I was a wait a year. Okay, the time traveling and time thing has been kind of confusing me. I guess it wasn't 100 years. I guess it was only a year, kind of flat. When it comes to beings who can live for so long and not age, like the elves and the witches, you kind of think they're all thousands of years old. But no, I guess it was just a year past. So basically, it's like he's speaking 100 days. It's because of the whole him reuniting or something, or 300 or something number was because of he thought that he was reuniting. But yeah, anyways, a year passed. My apologies. I was thinking that it was 100 years, but now it's only a year. It's kind of funny to think about the fact that like, all this Elvish things only happened a year before Kuzuna showed up. But whatever. We cut back the rest of the story now, being able to focusing on saving him. So yeah, that's it for the time stop newest chapter of time stop hero, and also the end of this video. So, anyways, I hope you like my thoughts on these chapters. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in these chapters in the comments below. Don't forget to tell me about what chapters you've read and what you thought of those chapters in the comments below. Also, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more videos in the future. And when that's it, I cannot wait to see all of your mottos next time. Goodbye.